Today's our last Sunday in the month that we have been inspired by Labor Day, which was the first weekend of the month. The idea of this month has been to create a life that works without all the hard labor. To create a life that works without all the work. And what we've said every single Sunday, and we will say and really deepen into today, is that when we live from certain spiritual principles, when we apply certain spiritual practices, and then when we leave the rest to God, life absolutely can and does work, even in those moments where we think it isn't. It still is. And we have collectively identified what it means to have a life that works. And every single Sunday we've been adding to, and every single Sunday and Wednesday evening, we've been adding to the definition of a life that works. And I want to read you the list and see if we have anything at all. We had one thing that was kind of a little addition to something we already have, but we added in first service. But here's the list. Number one, we feel a deep connection to source. Number two, we have dynamic, vibrant, and radiant physical health. Number three, which encompasses a lot of things, we are in the flow of financial good. And so when we're in the flow of financial good, we are able to have the experiences that bring us joy, which include snacks. Okay, so I got the snacks in there. I failed to mention snacks in first service and was called on that, so I want to get snacks in there. And it's all, to do whatever it is, have a nice meal, go to the movies, give it away, whatever you want to do. You have the financial flow so that you can do that. Capital C coincidences happen on a regular basis. We have loving, solid relationships. A life that works is a life where we are at peace and we are happy. It is where we are living free of any addiction. It is where we are joyously sharing our talents and our gifts, and where we love the work that we do in the world. We are serving and we are giving to others. We have care and compassion for others, and we are living in the now moment. So that's the list of a life that works. Do you like that list? Is it good? Do you need to add anything to it? Today's our last chance, at least for this month, to do that. Okay. So that's our definition of a life that works. And as I said, when we live from certain spiritual principles, apply certain spiritual practices, and then leave the rest to Spirit, then our lives absolutely can work that way, even in those moments where we don't think it does. So today we're going to bring the month to a close by living from a particular certain spiritual principle. We are going to apply a certain spiritual practice, both of which will lead us to giving the rest and leaving the rest to God, which is really another way of saying trusting God. And if you were with us the very first Sunday of this month, we spent the whole Sunday talking about trust in God. So today really is going to take us full circle. I love the circle, and it's taking us back full circle. So what is the spiritual principle we're going to look at? Well, this is not a new spiritual principle, but we maybe have never quite said it in this way. So here is the spiritual principle of today. The universe is a whole lot smarter than you are. There it is. The universe is a whole lot smarter than we are. I am, you are. That's our spiritual principle we're going to look at. The practice we're going to explore, we'll get to that in a moment. But first, let's look at the spiritual principle. So the universe is a whole lot smarter than we are. And intellectually, we know that, right? We get that. We understand that. But do we really grasp the magnitude of that idea? Ernest Holmes writes in the textbook at 138, he said, "We comprehend the meaning of infinite intelligence only in a small degree." Only in a small degree can we comprehend the infinite intelligence of the divine. But I love to always take where we are and expand it. And actually, that's what Ernest tells us later in the textbook somewhere. I don't know what page this is on, but he says that we can only start where we are and then grow from there. So this morning, I want us to take wherever we are in our understanding of this infinite intelligence and widen it just a bit, expand it just a bit. And one way that I think helps us do that is by looking at examples of how infinite intelligence demonstrates itself. And of course, our examples will have to be in our human world and in our human experience. So this is congregant participation time. Putting you on notice, congregant participation time. I would like to just hear from a couple of you, and I'll repeat it so that we all can all hear, and everyone and people who are watching online can hear. Give me one way that you see God's infinite intelligence in operation. Somebody raise your hand and tell me. Yes, Reverend Renee sitting over there. Woohoo! That's really funny you said that. Intuitive guidance. I say it's funny because in first service that was the first one that was said as well. Intuitive guidance is a way infinite intelligence demonstrates itself. I saw other hands. Yes, Marianne. Nature, of course. Of course. There has to be some intelligence behind nature. Just take a look at a leaf and, a flower, and you're just blown away by the complexity and the beauty and the delicacy and the grace of nature. What else? Unconditional love. Dee Dee, thank you. She offered that in first service. She's offering it again here. Unconditional love is a demonstration of God's infinite intelligence. Sam? Synchronicity. Those divine coincidences that just so happen to happen. Good. What else? Yes, Sean. The human body. Oh my gosh, what a miracle the human body is. Is it not? Think of all the things that are happening in here that you don't give a thought to. It's just happening because there's an intelligence behind it. And the healing qualities and properties of this human body are phenomenal. Reverend Christopher.
Adversity as our teacher.
He said adversity as our teacher. Nice. Very nice. One more. Who else has one other example of infinite intelligence at work?
Music.
Thank you from the band pit. Thank you. Music. Holy Toledo. Yes. Oh my gosh, I marvel at music. I am so enthralled with music. I must have been a serious musician in a former life or something. I don't know. But I am so enthralled with music, and the idea that you would think that every note that could be put together has already been put together, that there aren't any new ways to combine musical notes, and yet how many new songs get written every day? I don't know. That would be an interesting statistic to know. But a ton of new songs get written every single day, right? So an infinite intelligence manifesting itself as a combination of musical notes. Beautiful. Thank you, Dave, for that. You get a gold star on that one. So what we know is that quote I began of Ernest, I'm now going to finish because you just demonstrated this quote. So the quote that I began was, "We comprehend the meaning of infinite intelligence only in a small degree." He then went on to write, "But because we are spiritual beings, we do sense the presence of an intelligence which is beyond our human comprehension. An intelligence which is great enough to encompass the past, to understand the present, and to be the father-mother of the future." Okay, I added mother. He didn't say that, but I did. "It is the cause of everything that has been, and is that out of which must unfold everything that is to be." And the beginning of the quote I shared at the beginning of the service was this: "In the beginning of any creative series, there is absolute intelligence, alone, pure spirit, all-inclusive, everywhere infinite." There was a convention not all that long ago of scientists. And these scientists came together over a course of several days to share their latest scientific findings. And there was seminar after seminar of all these scientists showing their research and explaining, what they have come to. And basically at the end of this conference, the scientists realized that they can now do everything, that science can now explain and do everything, even to creating life. And as their conversation is unfolding, they start to talk and realize that, you know what? God is really no longer necessary. That science has got it all figured out. God isn't necessary, so God can go take a break. They talk among themselves as to who is going to be the lucky scientist to go tell God that she can take a break. I have to do that, sorry. And one scientist says, all right, I'll do it. I'll go tell God that he's not necessary anymore. He can go some universe and do whatever. So God gets an audience before God. So the scientist gets an audience before God and lays out all the research and all the findings and everything that science can do now, and basically says, God, we're just telling you that, we've got it. You can go. We don't need you anymore. God said, really? That's interesting. So just show me. Just show me. So with that, the scientist bends down, picks up a clump of earth, and says, so from this earth we can, and the God says, hold on, whoa, wait a minute. Get your own earth. Get your own earth. Yeah. Everything comes from God, the source of all. And I love this from the Revealing Word. Anybody know what the Revealing Word is, the book, The Revealing Word? The only person in first service knew what it was a Unity minister who comes here now. Yeah, she would know. Anybody know what the Revealing Word is? Sharon, you raised your hand. What is it? Who wrote it? Oh, there you go. Got it. So the Revealing Word is a metaphysical dictionary, actually written by Charles Fillmore, the founder of Unity. And in this, and this is under the word intelligence, Fillmore writes, the greatest proclamation of scientific minds will be that one directive intelligence is an essential cause of the harmonious universe. And the cool thing is that actually science now is saying that. That convention of scientists, in case you hadn't figured out, didn't really happen. I think you probably figured that out already. Right. Scientists absolutely is now saying there is an intelligence, an unexplainable intelligence behind everything. Ernest Holmes says this, and this is, by the way, a fundamental, foundational teaching of our science of mind principles. One life, back of everything, one intelligence, one mind that creates everything out of itself. Ernest says this at page 105 of our textbook. As we look at the many millions of forms, all of different shapes and colors, are we not compelled to accept the fact that intelligence is the ultimate creative agency of the universe? And I love that last line, and I would love to turn it into an affirmative statement, which is divine intelligence is the ultimate creative energy of the universe. Let's try that one on for size. Let's put that on. Yeah, if you want to get in our power position. Divine intelligence is the ultimate creative energy of the universe, and it knows more than I do. Nice. And there's a second piece to this. Yes, it does know more than I do. It does know more than you do. But it lives and moves and has its being as you. And it works in you or through you. And it creates through you. So you are a very important part of this puzzle. Many of our definitions or illustrations, examples of divine intelligence, infinite intelligence that you gave me earlier, all had to do with that intelligence running through you. So we are not the only vehicle of this divine intelligence, but absolutely a vehicle of divine intelligence. So how about this? Infinite intelligence lives in me, works through me, and creates as me. Do we like that? I like it. Woohoo! Good. So, because I like it, we're going to say it. Infinite intelligence lives in me, works through me, and creates as me. One more time. Infinite intelligence lives in me, works through me, and creates as me. Nice. That is our spiritual principle this morning. That when we live from that, life works without all the work. When, that's a big word, when, underscore. When we live from that, life works without all the work. So what's the spiritual practice that helps us live from that? Well, Sally Jo sang about it in her song. And that is the high and holy, deep and powerful spiritual practice of letting go, of control. People say, We clench our fists and lock our jaws and go, okay, I'll let go of control. I'm letting go of control. Yes. Yes. I love this statement from Mario Andretti. I heard somebody quote this the other day, that if you think you're in control, well, you're just not going fast enough. I really love that. But letting go of control. Okay, so control of what is the question? Letting go of control of what? This is, again, congregant participation time. So talk to me. Maybe some folks who didn't share before. What is one thing? Yes, my friend. Hello. Good to see you. Letting go of the outcome of something. It has to be this way. Yes. Schedule. Letting go of the schedule. Okay, good. What else? Letting go of what else? Yes. Oh, man, the cursed, as Mike Dooley calls him, the cursed hows. Let go of the how it's going to happen. Yeah, Sharon. The future, letting go of what's going to happen in the future. Let me see if there's anybody else, okay? Yes, Sharon. Letting go of our story and our attachment to our story. Yes, yes, okay. Say that. Letting go of all the ifs. Oh, yeah, if, what if. Letting go of all of that. Yes, what else? Jared? Letting go of the details. Trying to handle all the details. What else? Anything else? There's one you haven't said yet. I want to hear it. Yeah, okay, Marilyn. Okay, that's a good one. Boy, that did not come up in first service. Thank you. Letting go of fear. Sharon. Thank you. That's the one I was looking for. That's the one, but I like the fear too. Letting go of having to do it all myself. And one more, Sandy. Reverend Sandy, did I see your hand? Chip. Letting go of the past. Nice. All of those things. When we're holding on to any of those things, we're trying to be in control. And guess what? Thank you, whoever said that. It so doesn't work. And it's also an illusion. It's an illusion that we have any control over any of those things because we don't. And all we do is stress ourselves out and get ourselves, as I like to say, our panties in a bunch, which really isn't very ministerial, but I like to say that anyway, when we're trying to hold on to those things. What do we have control over? One thing. The one thing we have control over, I'm going to expand, that is absolutely yes, and I'm going to expand it a little bit by saying we have control over our consciousness. We have control over our consciousness, which I define as consisting of 8 things, and they all work together. And here's how they work together. We have control over our thoughts. Yes, whoever said that, I didn't hear who. Thank you. Jeannie said that. Our thoughts and our spoken word, which impacts our feelings, which then shapes our attitudes, beliefs, and values, which then informs our actions and our reactions. Did you get all that? I'm saying yes and no, so I'm going to do it again. We have control over our consciousness, and our consciousness consists of our thoughts and our spoken words, which impact our feelings, which then shape our attitudes, our beliefs, and our values, which then in turn inform our actions and reactions. That's what we have control over. Nothing else. God has got God's infinite intelligence, which is way more greater than yours, but that works through you, has got all the rest. Our high and holy spiritual practice is to let go of the control of all of that. I want to give you an example, one in which I do not need Drummer Dave's exclamation point at the end. Sometimes I desperately need it. Yes, as in that earlier one, thank you. This one I don't. It's a true story of something that happened in the making of the movie The Robe. Do you remember the movie? You're going to date yourself if you say yes, by the way, because this movie came out in 1953, but that doesn't mean you were around to hear it, to watch it then, but nonetheless, you probably have heard of it. It was called The Robe. It starred Richard Burton and Gene Simmons. It was about a Roman military tribune who was the chief, the commander of the unit that crucified Jesus. This is what the movie was about. It was up for a bunch of Academy Awards. What you might not know, a little backstory about this movie, is that the robe that Jesus wore, they wanted it to be authentic. They wanted it to be like the robe he wore in Judea back when he walked this earth before he was crucified. And that robe was, if you know your scripture, was a seamless garment. meaning it didn't have any seams in it. It didn't have side seams or sleeve seams or anything. It was made out of a piece of whole cloth. So wanting to be as authentic as possible, the creators of this movie hired a weaver, a woman who wove fabric on a loom, and her daughter to create a seamless piece of fabric, and I don't know exactly how they did it, but they created a robe with no seams. It took 36 hours to weave this robe together. And they kind of just came right under the wire of getting it done in time to need it for a scene. They had 16 hours between getting it done and the time that it was needed in the movie. But they got it done. There was a big search to find them, which is why they kind of were a little bit late being pulled in, and the robe didn't get made more in advance than that. So they did. It's done. The mother, it's a mother and her adult daughter that made this, and they're celebrating and glad that it's over, getting ready to they're kind of putting their things away and going to package it up and get it over to the studio. When they noticed the little grandson, or the son of the daughter of the weaver, little guy shows up. He walks up with a pair of scissors in his hand and a square of the fabric of the robe. Oh my gosh. Panic strikes these two women. What are we going to do? It took us 36 hours to weave this robe. We have 16 left. My mother's up here going, oh, I know the feeling, right? I've had it. Yeah, I know the feeling. So they are panic stricken. Don't know what to do, but they are spiritual women, and so they decide to pray. Their prayer really was, help us find somebody else, another place to get this robe, but that's not what came to them. What came to them after the prayer was, weave it again. Divine guidance, divine wisdom. And they argue with this because there's not enough time. It took us 36 hours. I have 16. There's not enough time. What is our high and holy spiritual practice? Let go of control. Let go of what we think. This one didn't come up this came up in first service. Let go of time and how long something is supposed to or not supposed to take. So they got the guidance. Start weaving again. And so they did. And they weaved with as much passion and fervor as they possibly could. They got that robe complete, absolutely perfect, just as beautiful, if not more beautiful than the one they had done before, in 9 hours. So they had some hours to spare. They delivered it. Everyone on the set is happy. Nobody even knows that happened. The movie's filming goes on, and the movie, becomes a classic movie. The women were in awe that happened. And they were thinking, how did that happen? It took us 36 hours to do the first one. How did it take 9 to do the second one? And they thought to themselves, well, probably because we had practiced it already. We'd done it once. That's why it didn't take as long. They decided to test it. And so they decided to make another robe to see how long it would take them. And they did it with as much fervor, as much passion, and as much urgency as they did the second one. And it took them 36 hours to do it. When we let go of control, an infinite intelligence comes up behind us that is creative, that is beyond our ability, and it works through us and as us. And we not only accomplish amazing things, that was a miracle. Not only can we accomplish miracles, but we take a step deeper into the very first thing we said is the definition of a life that works, which is a deeper connection to Source. I love this quote from Diane Harmony in her book, The 5 Gifts for an Abundant Life. She said, when we let go and let God, we are in the midst of a spiritual practice so powerful that the core beliefs that have held us captive and small can be dismantled, resistance to our good can melt away, fear of the unknown can be shattered, a sense of oneness with God and all life can be embodied, and a whole new world of infinite possibilities can open up for us. A whole new world of infinite possibilities can open up for us. That's what happens when we let go and let God. Last Sunday, I shared the story of Sharon Davis, who's sitting right back there with the purple hair, celebrating life. and of our congregant care ministry, which is our featured ministry this month. Our congregant care ministry is a huge part of this community, and what they do is amazing. And I shared Sharon's story of how the love and the knowing and the support from this community, from our spiritual life coaches, and very particularly from congregant care, moved her from several life-threatening surgeries where the doctors honestly didn't even want to do the first surgery because they didn't think she would survive, to walking, talking, living, breathing, laughing, dancing Sharon that is today. The doctors call her a walking medical miracle. I shared her story last week. What I didn't share with you is something else that she said to me when she and I spoke about her story. She said, all of this happening to me made me, I had no choice, let go of control. It forced me to let go of control. I had no choice but to let go of control. And what I found was that everything I needed, when I needed it, in the highest possible way, just came to me. Those are our capital C coincidences that happen. Just came to me. Sharon, just raise your hand so we know, so everybody knows who I'm talking about. There she is right there. Yes. So I want to give you another example this morning of letting go of control, particularly that one of got to do it all myself, right? That's a big one for us. That one particularly is present here. And another example of this amazing congregate care ministry and the work that it does to live the vision of this church and live out in living color what we talk about every single Sunday. So Barbara Joy, come on up. Give her a hand as she's coming up.
Good morning. Maybe it's afternoon.
Not yet. Not yet.
Okay. I'm really happy to be up here speaking on behalf of Congregant Care. It's a great honor. Thank you for inviting me to speak. My name is Barbara Joy. I have been coming to CLF for a little over 2 years. I just had my 2-year anniversary a couple of weeks ago. And it's just been amazing. And I want to tell you a little bit about my background and what brought me to being introduced to congregant care so up close and personal. I was a single mom. This is the past me before I really kind of grew in my spiritual teachings. But I was that very independent single mom. I was a single mom raising 2 kids for 20 years. And I thought I could do anything. But I really sort of changed that mantra to, you will do everything. Yeah. And in fact, I really considered myself to be the MacGyver, the female version of MacGyver, because I could do anything with a rubber band or a paper clip. Okay? And I got through those 20 years and a lot more, being very handy with those 2 tools. But that's not enough in a lifetime. That's not enough. What brought me to being able to have the services of congregant care is that about 10 months ago, I sustained an injury, a burn, a very serious burn. It was on a part of my body that I had previously had radiation and 9 surgeries. So the complications of healing were a little bit dicey. And I've been working with some wonderful doctors and have had 2 surgeries so far, and hopefully that's the end. But I'm a different person now. I'm not that person who will do everything. And I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot of spiritual lessons. And one of the beautiful spiritual teachings has to do with compassion, which is at the heart of congregant care. And so I want to define compassion for you. One of the definitions comes from what's called the late Latin. So I don't know what happened in the early years with the Latins, but it took them a while to come up with the definition of compassion. And there's 2 parts to it. The C-O-M, come, is translated to the word with, and passion is translated in Latin to suffering. So what does it mean to have compassion? It means to be with suffering, but not just others. It's a circle. It's a spiritual circle. And the completion is that compassion is to be with your suffering as well as to be with others. And there's another beautiful spiritual principle that I want to talk about, and that's the principle of receiving, which is again a circle of giving and receiving. And when I sustained this injury, the help just flooded for my taking. The old me would have gone, I'm independent. I can do everything. Now I don't need to. Now the spiritual action I took is just to say yes. And I want to talk about what I received when I said yes. And if I had hours, I couldn't even, get into all of it. But in part, I'm talking visits, phone calls, texts, prayers, prayer circle, meditations, being taught breath exercises, crystal light therapy, Reiki, visits, blessed bears, holy water. I mean, wait a minute, there's more. I did say chicken soup. Boy, that was so delicious. Yes brought me everything I needed for my heart, everything. So I just want to invite you, if there's something that going on in your life and you want this incredible compassion and support to come your way, just say yes. Okay. And I want to read a poem that I found. It's from Pema Chodron, and this is her words. When you begin to touch your heart, or let your heart be touched, you begin to discover that it's bottomless, that it doesn't have any resolution, that this heart is huge, vast, and limitless. You begin to discover how much warmth and gentleness is there, as well as how much space. So make space, and these beautiful angels will just come right in with all the love in the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara. Thank you, Barbara. So Congregant Care will have a table today in the fellowship hall, so please go visit them. Reverend Cindy, our Congregant Care minister, right there. Cindy, if you would stand. Reverend Cindy is the leader of the pack of the Congregant Care ministry, so please go see her, and if you have a Congregant Care need, please let them know, and if your heart calls you to serve, then let them know that as well. And I'm going to put out there and then let go of total control of how, when, or where this happens, but we have a Congregant Care opportunity right now that I just want you to know about, so in case any of you feel like being the creative avenue through which Source works, you may do that, and that is that in the Congregant Care office, we have an opening for a very good, well-made chair, office chair. So if anyone, and yes, Cindy? We have 2 offers from first service. Okay, never mind. Forget it. It's already done. See, and that is how it works. So yay, yay, yay. Because when you rely on the spiritual principle that there is an infinite intelligence greater than we are, but that we are immersed in and that flows through us and creates as us, when we do that, and when we then apply that spiritual practice of letting go and letting God, we live in that place of trust. And when we do those things, life works. Life works in that we feel connected to Source. Life works in that we are absolutely dynamically, vibrantly, and radiantly healthy. Life works in that we're in the financial flow, and whatever that we want or need, we have plenty of resources to provide that. Life works in that capital C coincidences happen all the time. Loving, solid relationships occur. We're at peace and we're happy. We're living free from addiction. We love and joyously share our gifts and our talents. We love the work we do. We're serving and giving to others. We're caring and compassionate with others. And we're living in the now moment. All of that, life works in that way without all the work. Are you up for that? Yes. Say yes? Yes. Amen? Amen? Yeah, let's pray. Let us pray. Oh, we said amen already. That means our prayer is done. But of course, life is a circle, and so we circle back to the beginning. back to the awareness of the one power, the one infinite intelligence that is in, through, and as everything. Those beautiful descriptors that we collectively came to this morning, those are examples of God's infinite intelligence in nature, in music, through us. God ever flowing, ever creating, ever expanding in form. Each and every one of us immersed in and part of and in fact one with this infinite intelligence. It truly does live and move and have its being as us. That is the truth. And I simply proclaim and know that as in this moment we let go of control, then that deep wisdom, that infinite intelligence that lives as us is given an opportunity to express itself through us. So right here and right now, if there is anything that you have identified through our time together that you have been holding on to, that you have had a firm grip on, I want you to envision yourself letting your hand open. And right now, aloud but softly, simply say, I let this go to God. I let this go to God. Say it again. I let this go to God. One more time. I let this go to God. And in that, we are set free. And we live a joyous, productive, abundant, vital life with ease and with grace. For this I am so grateful. Knowing that the law has said yes, I let this prayer go and call it good. And together we say, and so it is. Amen.